All right, let's try this again. Again. And again. Hey guys, FunnyGuyTimmy here. Today we're talking about Fiverr, but not in a positive light. I've done a couple videos talking about Fiverr. I normally, because it's one of the platforms that I work off of to do voiceover. But I have my complaints, and I've actually recorded this video multiple times. A video going down the things that I hate about Fiverr. But to their credit, they actually, a couple of the videos before had some issues that I had some issues with Fiverr that they actually addressed in some recent updates. So points to them on that, which was good. But as time went on, some of the problems that I have still remain, even though I've actually tried to contact them about these issues and they just are still there. And then some of them are just things that are just always going to be there. So that's what we're talking about today, things that I hate about Fiverr. And I still think it's a good service. I've been there for like 6-7 years, basically since the website launched. And this was back when you could only charge $5. And again, to their credit, they eventually got to a point where they were like, we need to start tailoring our website just as much to the people that provide service as the people that are looking for service. And so they actually rearranged their entire structure, and, people can charge basically anything. You can charge professional industry standard rates, which is one of the things that I like about Fiverr. Now, I didn't before, but I do now. But the things that I still hate about Fiverr is, well, number one, and this one's an easy one, and this one's kind of a minor complaint, which is if I had a list going, it'd be very low on the list. And that is the fact that there are now so many people on there. But it's not really a problem of Fiverr. Google has the same problem. So does Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, because they're just platforms that people are on. And when you have an open platform that anyone can join, and you can try to market yourself or use it in some way of making money, obviously you're going to get flooded. Obviously there's going to be lots of people. And yes, you go onto Fiverr, you type in anything, and there's going to be multiple people within that category. Now, of course, when you start adding in more variables, it will start narrowing it down more and more, and you'll get down to the point where you're only going to be technically competing 5 or 10 people against each other when you get really specific on what it is you want. But most clients don't know what they want, and so then they just end up going through this long, dreary list of thousands of people, and normally they just end up settling before they even get halfway. And that's not necessarily Fiverr's fault, but it is a problem that I have with the website. I don't know how they would fix that. I don't know what they would do. I think that's more of a problem with the clients and the fact that there are a lot more search tabs that they could use. Most of them, they don't use that, and most of them have no idea what they're looking for, and most of them just go for price. So that's kind of one of the complaints. The next complaint is the fact that the customers on the website, again, this is not necessarily Fiverr's fault, but the customers that are on the website are not the best clients in the world. In fact, most of them are probably the worst clients in the world. And I'm just going to say that. Just going to put that out there. Most of them are the worst clients. And not because they are intentionally terrible. A lot of the times, Fiverr is intended for people that are way more amateur or way more inexperienced with this kind of stuff. And so you have someone that's on the website and they don't really know what they're looking for, and so they don't know what they want, they don't know what they look for, they don't know what normal rates are, and there's nothing on the website that funnels professional clients and amateur clients. There's no way of doing that. It's just an open gate and all the cattle come through. And again, don't know how they would fix that. I don't necessarily think it's their fault, but that is one of the major problems that I have with that website. Most of the clients you're going to get are terrible clients. I don't really deal with that many terrible clients anymore because they try to communicate with me. They're like, hey, can you do this for this much? And I'm like, that's way too little. And they're like, oh, the other guy does it. I'm like, well, I'm not that other guy. And then they leave. And, my day is saved. I don't got to deal with that kind of problem anymore. But that is still a thing. There's still a problem that I have with that website. They are kind of trying to focus a lot of attention on the people that offer a service in being educated or verified or, getting some extra help and learning more stuff on how to better themselves. I do like that, but I wish there was some kind of guide for people coming to the website. I wish there was some kind of do's and don'ts for them. Number one, don't harass and don't curse at the people that, offer service. Don't try to bully them. Don't spam them. There would be clients that would come to me and try to haggle and would be very aggressive, very rude, and very violent. It would waste a lot of my time. And they were actually contributing to something that I'm actually going to get to later. It's my biggest pet peeve with Fiverr. That, the only way to really resolve that was to block them. Because, sure, I could flag them for spamming, but now they have it where, or they have it where you can flag it for different things. You have to be more and more specific. Like, what exactly are they doing? And it's not, like, I don't know why you as the service provider can't just decide, yeah, I don't want to do service with that person. I don't want to work with that person. And because, no one technically has the right to your service. Now, I don't discriminate against anyone other than people that are incredibly rude or people that do projects that I don't want to be involved in. There was this guy who was doing a lot of porn and a lot of stuff like that. And these were all like parodies and cartoons and games. And he kept coming to me multiple times asking me if I could do some of the voices. And I was like, I really don't want to do anything like that. I don't want my voice out there in association with those kind of projects. And he kept coming back to me over and over and over again. And every now and then he would try to place an order and not tell me what it is. And like he wouldn't even come to me and communicate with me. He would just place the order and it's got all this stuff I don't want to read. And then I would try to cancel the order. He would try to, pitch a fit. And so eventually I had to block him. Now, he hasn't come back, but that's not to say that someone like that won't. I can flag them, but what category would I flag that under? And this is one of the things that I talked to Fiverr about, and they didn't respond, which is not surprising. I don't think they've ever responded to any of my emails except for the copy and paste email they send. So that's another one of the problems that I have is the clientele and the fact that you don't really have that much power over it. There's no way of really, other than you actively taking your profile and posting it outside of Fiverr, there's no real way of you to call the clients, the potential clients that you have, and to tailor towards the only way that you can kind of eliminate bad clients is to raise your fee. And to, try to make your rates something that's unappealing to that kind of clientele. The worst kind of clients don't want to pay the most. The worst clients don't want to pay the most. They want to pay the least. They want it basically to be free. They want to haggle. They want revision after revision after revision. So being stern and raising your prices is the best way of getting rid of that. But other than that, on this platform is not known for people charging professional rates. So if you bring up your prices, you're going to get less work. That's the structure of the website. And that, yes, I get it. That's what this website is for. It's for a more, variety of services from zero to amateur to, beginner to professional to godlike, whatever. And I get that. I get that that's why it exists. But at the same time, I really wish there was a little bit more control and you could kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm asking something that they can't do, or I'm asking for, or don't know what I'm asking for. But that kind of stuff really bugs me. The thing that really, really, really bugs me is the way they punish you on Fiverr. They're kind of not fair to the service providers in the sense that, so you have to be of certain levels of, basically you just have certain levels on your profile. And once you get to certain levels, there are more features available to you. And the higher up in the levels, the more you're going to get seen. So people that are just starting out have no reviews, basically have very little to offer very few gigs, and it's very hard for them to get noticed, especially going through the search engine. They're less likely to end up at the top of the randomly generated lists. But you can get bumped down incredibly easy. Now, it's very, very hard to move up the levels. It's very hard for you to move to the next level. You have to hit this incredible checklist and up to the point of level 2. So it goes like 0 level 1, level 2, and then there's top tier or, top service provider or whatever. So for level 2, all the way up to level 2, basically it's automatic. If you've, done all of these things, they have this checklist. Once you've achieved all those things, by this certain point, you will get automatically bumped up. That's not the case for top tier, top service. Even if you've achieved all the things they've asked of you, you might never get moved up. I had been level 2 and have achieved all the things they asked of me for about 3 years straight. And every time they kept saying, we're considering you, get the email or notification. It's like, hey, we're reviewing. And then they would say, no. And then I would ask them, what is it that I need to do that is going to get me to the next level? Because I've already, the checklist that you gave me, I did all those things, making thousands, at the time, I think I was making anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a month off Fiverr. And that was for like a whole year. So it was 3 years, and the last year, that was what I was tracking. And it was really, really good. And they repeatedly refused me moving up. And I would try to talk to them, and they would not tell me anything. There was like, when I finally did talk to somebody, I put up enough stink, and I did finally talk to somebody on email. All they did is they forwarded me a link to the checklist that I had already accomplished. The checklist that's right there available on your profile that says all the things that you need to do. I already did those things. And that is one of my major pet peeves. Now, it is incredibly hard to move up. It is incredibly easy, insanely easy. You might not even know that it happened to get bumped all the way to 0. Not bumped down to level 1. If you're at level 2, which I was, you could get bumped down to level 0 without warning, without anything. Just immediately bump to 0, and then not get noticed and make nothing on Fiverr for an entire month. I'm not even kidding. This happened to me. And so I had to find out what the hell just happened. And it took me forever to finally get in touch with somebody. It took me about a month of emailing to finally get in touch with somebody. And what they told me is that I had two clients that was messaging me, that at the end of that message, the client left a message and I didn't reply, and that stayed unreplied to for over 24 hours. And because of those two things, everything else was fine. I was 100% on order delivery. I was 100% on ratings. But it was 100% on the communication, but because of those two clients, I got moved down to 0, absolutely down to 0. And all of my gigs, all of the extras on my gigs, which I make the most money off of, were taken off of there completely. Now, they still exist, but they won't show up until you get back up to level 2, which I did last month. So thank God for that. But again, they were like, oh yeah, there was these 2 customers that you didn't reply to. I was like, what are you talking about? And so I went through all of my messages. One of them was spam, and I could not reply to it. I could not click on it. It would say, this customer, this client, cannot be communicated to. They already been listed as spam, so I couldn't reply to them. But it still had a red notice saying that I hadn't replied to them. And I found out the other one. So the other one was this client that didn't order anything. They weren't a client. They weren't a customer. It was someone asking me questions over and over. I assume it was like a 12 or 14-year-old kid who wanted to create this project but hadn't written anything, hadn't created anything, hadn't drawn anything, and was just asking me all these questions and wanted me to do these auditions with no scripts. And we went back and forth, and he had been communicating me for about 2 weeks. Non-stop, with nothing. And I would even say, if you're not, if you don't have anything, then, come back when you have something. And he would just keep asking me questions. How many voices can you do? Could you do this kind of character? Could you do this kind of character? And I was like, do you want me to write for you? I can write. If you want me to write, do you have an outline? He's like, I don't got an outline. And this just kept going. And we finally got to a point. He's like, well, I guess I'll talk to you later. And I was like, all right, bye. And that was my message. And then he went, all right, bye, basically repeating mine. And so I went, okay, good night, because I have to reply. I have to leave something. And then, he would he left like a thumbs up, and I would leave a thumbs up, and then he would leave a smiley face. And then I just walked away. I just walked away from that. No. I'm not giving him any more attention. No more. I didn't want to block him. I didn't want to list him as spam. I didn't want to report him because he's not technically doing anything wrong. If this was a 12 or 14-year-old kid or someone even younger who's just excited and wants to create a project, I don't want to come down that hard on them. But at the same time, what am I supposed to do? He's not buying anything, and he's just continuing to talk to me. It was insane. And so those 2 got me bumped down to 0 with no warning. There was no chance of me fixing it. There was no heads up, and it wasn't to level 1 all the way to level 0. That is my biggest problem with Fiverr. There is a lot that is just not done for the person who is providing a service. Yes, they are adding extra features for the people who are providing service, but the features that they're adding, a lot of the stuff that they're adding, like the verifying your education or getting more training, is just so you can provide a better service to the customers to keep them coming back so that Fiverr can make more money. That's really the whole point. It's not to make your experience better. It's not to make your, service smoother. It's not to make it a smoother transition. A lot of it is just so they can make more money. And the whole punishing thing is incredibly aggressive, especially if you don't know about that at all, have no clue that 1 or 2 clients, 1 or 2 people that you were communicating with could damage your entire couple months. And I'm still recovering from that. That is insane. Like, that almost ruined the entire year for me thus far. It is September. I think it's September. Let me check. Yeah, it is September, and about 4 or 5 months of this year have been basically ruined by that. And again, they gave me no information. After I found out that that's what it was, and I talked to them, and I'm like, what can we do to fix this? How can I get back up? They basically stopped communicating to me. Basically, the idea was I would just slowly move back up, which took forever because the only way I'd get to move back up is by doing more gigs, making more money, getting more, communicating with more clients, getting higher ratings, which is incredibly difficult when you're at level 0 and basically blacklisted to most customers. most people won't see you. There was a period when I was at that state when I actually logged on to another profile, have another Fiverr profile, and I searched for because I wasn't getting any customers, so I searched for my gigs, and I could not find them. They did not exist. So that's my number one reason that I hate Fiverr. Now, is this going to be the same for everybody? No, it's not going to be the same for everybody. Does this completely ruin the website? It kind of hurts my personal relationship with Fiverr because it's kind of, it's like if you had a boss that kept, decreasing your pay, instead of they sent you right back down to minimum wage and they didn't tell you anything. It's kind of like that. It feels a little bit like that. Does that mean that y'all have anything to fear? Probably not. Just take all this into consideration. Be a little afraid, but there's a lot good on the website. There is a lot good. They are trying. They are trying to tailor the website for both the client and the service provider, but a lot of the times for the service provider, it doesn't feel like they're there and it doesn't feel like they care. That's just it. So anyway, this is a kind of a rant, not as ranty as it was before. Trust me, it was way longer before. Oh, it's 20 minutes. 20 minutes long. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications, and leave down in the comment section below if you'd like to see me do any other videos or if you have any questions. Totally fine. So until next time, peace.